Welcome into this edition of RSN Trackside. It's just me today. Marty's not feeling too good, so he's going to produce the show. Gary's on a little bit of a hiatus, so let's get right into it. This edition of RSN Trackside is powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group. They carry 18 different auto manufacturers ranging from Chevy to Ford to Toyota and many more in 25 convenient locations throughout New York State. Choose from thousands of vehicles in stock. Check them out online at bobjohnsonautogroup.com to find the location near you. As you can see, it was a busy weekend here in Las Vegas. Kyle Larson gets the win. Doesn't have to worry about anything like he did in 2021, like he did before. My thoughts on the race: great race. Kyle Larson gets the win, narrowly beating out Christopher Bell, who came so close to locking himself in to the championship round heading into Miami Homestead Speedway this weekend. But comes up just a little bit short on the outside looking in. But what does this mean for Kyle Larson? It's 2 weeks of Kyle Larson not having to worry about anything. He knows he's locked in. The 5 car, like they did back in 2001, gets in, locks themselves in like they did at Texas. They're now focusing on that Phoenix Raceway car for 2 weeks. They don't have to worry about this week at Miami Homestead Speedway. They're locked in. Then they don't have to worry again next week. They get to relax, take a breather. What does that also mean? Christopher Bell comes in second, finds himself on the outside looking in now. I believe he's only 2 points out. Nothing crazy, nothing you can't overcome here at Miami this weekend, but long way to go. What does that mean for Denny Hamlin? Denny Hamlin is only 6 points to the good, 7 points to the good. After we'll get into it a little bit later. I believe it's in segment 2 with Ryan Blaney. That's a little bit different. But overall, great race weekend. I thought it was good. So that brings us to Christopher Bell. Finishes second. What could Christopher Bell have done to overcome some of the things that happened? I don't know if there really was much that could have been done. Kyle Larson had a really good race car the entire weekend. Kyle Larson gets, I believe he won stage 1. That was Marty's pick, I also believe, going into this weekend, was Marty is like on fire in the playoffs. He couldn't do anything during the regular season. Get to the playoffs, he's like the Michael Jordan right now, I guess, if you want to say. He's like the Michael Jordan picking up wins left and right. I think he's now like 4 of 6 in the playoffs, picking the winners, which is pretty cool. But Christopher Bell, not much more he really could have done. Kyle Larson's car was just that good. I don't know what more we can do. Martin Truex Jr., another topic. Marty and I both said he was going to be one of the first 4 out, or one of the 4 drivers not to make it last week. I still think that could be the case, but he did have a top 10 finish this weekend, which was really good for him. Not sure if that's going to transition to Miami, but historically Toyota runs well at Miami. We'll see what happens. I think Martin Truex Jr. is still looking out. I believe he's only, he is currently like 7. No, he's like 10 points to the good, if I'm not mistaken, in the playoffs. No, he's 2 points. He's +2 with Denny Hamlin. They're both 2 points, with William Byron being the only +9. Kyle Larson locked himself in. Great to see that. Christopher Bell is the one who's 2 points up. That win would have locked in my pick that I picked last week to be Denny Hamlin's teammate going in over Martin Truex Jr. But being 2 points out and Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin being 2 points to the good, what does that do? Tells me that Christopher Bell is probably the better running of the cars between Truex and Bell. I think Bell's going to find a way in now, only 2 points out, ran really well, got a lot of points here at Vegas to get himself in this position. I believe he was 11 to 10 points out going in, gained 8 points. Truex, Denny Hamlin both lose points going into next weekend here at Miami Homestead Speedway. Ryan Blaney. Everybody wants to talk about Ryan Blaney's experience. Ryan Blaney had an up and down 24 hours after the race on Sunday. Gets DQ'd on Sunday night for his shock being illegal or too low. And then we get to Monday afternoon, Monday evening time. We find out NASCAR rescinds this penalty, right? What does that do for Ryan Blaney and his thoughts, right? Ryan Blaney goes from I now need to win a race in the next two to even have a shot at the championship 4, to now I believe he is only 17 points out instead of 36. So he gains points, essentially. NASCAR's statement on to why doesn't really affect me. It doesn't really affect anybody because Denny Hamlin, I think, said it right on Monday night, or maybe on Action Detrimental when this news broke, that they were rescinding the penalty. The shock was legal before the race, becomes illegal after the race. If I'm not mistaken, this is a part you really can't mess with once it's on the car. You can put in absorbers and whatnot, but you can't do anything to it during a race to manipulate your car. And Denny Hamlin goes, he wants to see the part, blah, blah, blah. And then it gets rescinded, and he goes, they probably made the right move because it was legal before the race. You can't really do much unless it breaks during. So for this to be rescinded, that's huge. But at the same time, Blaney still 17 points out. Still probably going to need a win. Miami's not his best track. But I think Blaney's going to be all right. That takes us to the Xfinity side, where we saw, I think the Xfinity race was the best race of the weekend. Not that the Cup race wasn't that great. I think the Xfinity race was by far the best of the weekend. So Riley Herbst gets his first career win. Took a really long time. He's had good runs. He's had runs where you're like, what is going on? Why are you being silly? And that's just part of the growth I think we've seen from Riley Herbst, right? Riley Herbst gets the win, gets his first Xfinity Series win. Then I think we also found out before the race, or maybe it was the day after, that he's been re-picked up by Stewart-Haas Racing and Monster Energy to drive that 98 car again next year in the Xfinity Series. So what a weekend it was for Riley Herbst, right? Riley Herbst gets the win. I don't believe he's in playoff contention anymore, which he's not. But you saw the likes of John Hunter Nemechek increase his points to 40 plus 47 with a solid race weekend this weekend. Even if he doesn't win, he's going to be able to lock himself into the Xfinity Series Championship for Justin Allgaier plus 21, Austin Hill plus 19, and Cole Custer plus 15. Really locks themselves in. Sam Mayer did not have the day he wanted to have, but he's on the outside looking in now. Let me pull up some more stats from this race while I'm here. Oh, come on. News. Xfinity. There we go. But yeah, I think Justin Allgaier had a good run. It's not pulling up for some odd reason. There we go. Where were they? They were at Vegas. So here we go. Results. Pull this up. John Hunter Nemechek comes in second. Cole Custer third. Chandler Smith, who's on the outside looking in, came in fourth. Sam Mayer fifth. Allgaier sixth. But you look at the points they gain, right? Riley Herbst gets 51 points, not in playoff contention. John Hunter Nemechek gets 48. Cole Custer 53. Sam Mayer only got 35. Justin Allgaier, who came in a spot behind him, got 42. Austin Hill, 2 spots behind Sam Mayer, who's in that championship 4 at the moment, got 36. That's only 1 point more, but it's still a point gained on the outside. If you're on the outside looking in, that's a point gained that you really can't have. So if you're Sam Mayer, disappointing because you got 5th, but you didn't get the stage points to really capitalize on your day. Cole Custer did that, on the other hand, got 53, more than the race winner, get the most points of the weekend, which really helped him gain in the point standings, when I think Marty and I both had Cole Custer out going into the championship 4, but now he's pretty much solidified himself in as a contender, not a pretender, at plus 15. But we're going to Miami this weekend. Anything can happen. I think we're in for a doozy. Chandler Smith. So these are your 4 out at the moment going into Miami. Chandler Smith minus 15, Sam Mayer minus 16, Sammy Smith minus 35, and Sheldon Creed minus 41. That's going to do it for segment 1. When we come back, we got the good, bad, ugly, the Lattimore Physical Therapy Power Rankings, and Kevin Harvick goes throwback. Stay with us. We'll be right back on the RSN Trackside.
Smooth sculpted lines, impressive hardware, aggressive stance. It can only mean one thing. 'tis the season to get out and tailgate. Right now at every Bob Johnson, buy any new or used truck, we'll throw in a Mafia-ready folding table absolutely free. Bob Johnson, this is where the savings are.
Bob Johnson.
If you're living with pain or recovering from surgery and don't know where to start, Lattimore Physical Therapy can help. The Lattimore Promise includes an individual diagnosis with a highly trained licensed physical therapist on your first visit, a personalized treatment plan, communication with your doctor, and a continued personal care plan. You're never more than minutes away from pain relief. Visit LattimorePT.com.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
We start with fresh, never frozen ground beef, follow it with our homemade meat hot sauce, and finish it with your choice of toppings, always made to order. Our world's greatest cheeseburgers will make you say, "Gimme, gimme, gimme, feel great."
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food. We did that too. A separate place to smoke and play? We even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
Welcome back to RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group. Well, we're in segment 2, which means we have the good, bad, and ugly from the race weekend. After consulting with Marty on this, who's not feeling well today, we've come up with what I think are the best 3. I think he thinks they're the best 3 that fit this race weekend, because there really wasn't much that we thought was bad or ugly. So we'll start with the good. I think this is an obvious one for the race weekend. Riley Herbst finally gets into victory lane in the Stewart Haas Racing number 98 Ford Monster Energy. It's long overdue. We know he can drive. We know he's got talent. He just has had a long string of bad luck, it seems like. He gets close, gets wrecked, speeds on pit road. Something happens to where it takes himself out. And we go with the bad. Ty Gibbs, pit crew member, has now been suspended for 4 weeks after a loose wheel breaks off, and it shattered off. If you watch the replay from Sunday. And then the ugly. During the Xfinity Series race, we had a big wreck. That was not fun to watch, but hey, when that's the ugly for the race weekend, that's what all NASCAR fans supposedly want, right? They want wrecks, they want excitement. But if that's the ugly for the race weekend, I'm going to take it any day of the week. It's better than anything serious happening on and off the track. Let us know what your thoughts are on the good, bad, and ugly. I'm sure you guys all have different opinions. I know Marty's group will have a different opinion than me, but hey, that's what Marty and I came up with talking here a few minutes ago for the good, bad, and ugly. But that will take us into the power rankings. Let me load up my little here. The power rankings for this race weekend are brought to you by Lattimore Physical Therapy of North Charlotte. They are an outpatient physical therapy clinic treating a variety of health conditions and restoring optimal health, providing personal, individualized care. Give them a call at 585-594-1688 or visit their locations at 3237 Union Street next to the post office. Not there, visit any of their other 27 locations, including the new Rockport location located in the Wegmans Plaza. If you haven't been there yet, they do really great work. Jeremy over there does really great work. They all do great work. They'll get you back in check. Get your health care checked out over at Lattimore Physical Therapy. That brings us to the power rankings, right? Something that Marty and I usually disagree a lot on. I think we're going to disagree a lot on this week's power rankings, but guess what? You guys don't get to hear Marty this week, so he can't give me a B-, a C-, a D, because Chase Elliott's not in the power rankings. So he's back there laughing, by the way, as he produces the show. Guess what, Marty? Chase still isn't in my power rankings. He actually went down in everybody's power rankings this week. Hopefully he went down in yours, but we'll never know till next week, will we? When hopefully you're feeling better, bud. But number 10, Ross Chastain. Decent race weekend. He enters my power rankings for the first time in a long time. But oh, Marty says he's not in his. But guess what? Ross Chastain has made his way into my top 10. decent run here at Las Vegas. I believe he qualified in the top 10. Had a solid run all weekend. Good for him. I'm glad he's running well. He's out of it. He doesn't have any pressure on him. Didn't advance, but he's one of the top 2, not in the top 8, racing for a championship still. That leads me to number 9, Kyle Busch. I believe he had a 3rd place finish this past weekend. It might be 6th. I can't remember. I'm going to pull it up right now. He did come in 3rd. I thought he was 3rd. It's a great race weekend. I think I picked him to come in top 10, came in top 5. That's really good for him. Number 8, finally got a top 10 in what seems like forever when it comes to the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr. has re-entered my power rankings as the 8th best driver left in the championship 8 as of right now. I have him at number 8. Number 7, disappointing run. Did not see this coming from this team. Chris Buescher, number 7, did not see this coming. Didn't see him struggling this bad this race weekend. Number 6, decent run. Kept himself in there in a potential spot to get into the round of 4. That's Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick had a really good run. Thought he did well. Number 5, Ryan Blaney. If the points weren't rescinded, he would have been 8th, Martin Truex Jr., and would have bumped everybody up a spot. But with the points being rescinded, with his points infraction being rescinded, Ryan Blaney gets in, only 17 points out now instead of 37. Doesn't need a win, needs 2 strong finishes, but needs stage points to really put a dent in that 17-point deficit going into Miami. That brings me to number 4, 2nd place finisher, runner-up finish, Christopher Bell. I have him in as my top 4 going into Championship Sunday in a few weeks out in Phoenix, but right now he sits 2 points out, but his 2nd place finish proves to me that he is capable of getting back to that championship round of 4. I think it can happen. I think it will happen. I think we're going to see Martin Truex Jr. find his way out at some point. Only 2 points to good. That brings me to number 3. Also only 2 points to good, sitting currently in 4th because the tiebreaker goes to Martin Truex Jr. with him winning the regular season championship. Denny Hamlin is number 3 in the power rankings. Not the day we thought he'd have. Decent run. Still lost points. Only 2 points to the good. Brings me to number 2. William Byron is number 2. What does that mean? We have a new number 1. And I think we all know who that number 1 is because he was number 3 in my power rankings last weekend. He is now number 1. Kyle Larson is this week's number 1 in the power rankings. Marty's nodding his head in the background. Don't know if he agrees. He's probably still going to say, it's a B-. I get the thumbs up. It's still probably a B-. Don't worry. But I'm sure he doesn't have Chase Elliott in his top 10, which is good. But you'll hear his top 10 next week when hopefully Marty's voice comes back and he's feeling a lot better. So we wish Marty the best in his recovery. But that leads us to what are your guys' takes on the power rankings? Who are your top 10? Who is out? Who's in? What do you think of my top 10? Marty's top 10 doesn't have Chase Elliott, so I'll give him an A for that for this week just because he's feeling under the weather and he has Chase Elliott out. But when we come back, we will talk the DraftKings odds for the weekend. We'll preview the race weekend in Miami, and then you will get my picks, and I'm sure Marty will tell me his picks to tell you, so he can't say he cheated his way to another win, because Marty's probably going to pick the winner again this weekend. This is RSN Trackside, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food. We did that too. A separate place to smoke and play? We even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
We start with fresh, never frozen ground beef. Follow it with our homemade meat hot sauce. And finish it with your choice of toppings, always made to order. Our world's greatest cheeseburgers will make you say, gimme, 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 feel great.
If you're living with pain or recovering from surgery and don't know where to start, Lattimore Physical Therapy can help. The Lattimore Promise includes an individual diagnosis with a highly trained licensed physical therapist on your first visit, a personalized treatment plan, communication with your doctor, and a continued personal care plan. You're never more than minutes away from pain relief. Visit LattimorePT.com.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
Smooth sculpted lines, impressive hardware, aggressive stance. It can only mean one thing. 'Tis the season to get out and tailgate. Right now at every Bob Johnson, buy any new or used truck, we'll throw in a Mafia-ready folding table absolutely free. Bob Johnson, this is where the savings are.
Bob Johnson.
Welcome back to this episode of RSN Trackside, presented by Bill Gray's, home of the world's greatest cheeseburgers since 1938. Every Wednesday is $2 off kids' meals, featuring burgers, Weigel's hot dogs, and more. Also, at select locations, you can watch the race and grab some food and a drink at Bill Gray's Tap Room. Find a location near you at BillGrays.com. Gimme, Bill Gray's. That brings us to the DraftKings 2023 Forever 400 odds. If you're not aware why it's called the Forever 400, by the way, it has been donated to Kevin Harvick for the 400 Forever 400 because Kevin Harvick's retiring. Bush, I believe, went out, paid for the sponsorship to be named Forever 400 here at Miami Homestead. Pretty cool. We also have some Kevin Harvick news on this, as well as I believe Budweiser is back on the car for the first time since 2014. Also, another Bush sponsorship deal that came through. Surprised Kevin Harvick this week. If you haven't seen the video of them unveiling the car to Kevin and providing this honor to Kevin Harvick, it's pretty cool. It's over at Stuart Haas Racing on Facebook, and I believe it's on their X page as well. So let's get into the odds presented by DraftKings. You must be 21 and over in New York State and gamble responsibly. If you have an issue, please make sure to reach out for help. Odds this week: Kyle Larson is the favorite. Tyler Reddick is second. Martin Truex Jr. is third. Denny Hamlin is fourth. William Byron is fifth. Kyle Busch is sixth. Christopher Bell seventh. Ross Chastain eighth. Ryan Blaney ninth. And Chase Elliott runs out your 10th best odds. To me, I'm staying away from Kyle Larson in this one. Kyle Larson has nothing to worry about. I think he just wants to keep the momentum going. I don't think he's going to be somebody contending for a win, even though this is a high line racetrack. I do think we see the high line come into play at some point during this race. So that also would be why Tyler Reddick is a favorite here at plus 500. He likes to ride the high side, rides the wall really well. They're inches away. Those two like to ride the wall. Martin Truex Jr. at plus 550. Give me one race good for Martin Truex Jr. Does that mean I think should be the third best favorite odd? No, I don't think so. I know he runs historically well at Miami Homestead Speedway. If I'm not mistaken, he won a championship here at Homestead Miami Speedway in the 78 before transitioning over to Joe Gibbs Racing when the 78 disappeared. Denny Hamlin can get a championship won at Miami Homestead Speedway, but the way he's been running in the playoffs, I agree with his odds at plus 700. William Byron plus 750. The way he's ran all year, he deserves those odds. But then this is where the jump takes real shape, right? Kyle Busch plus 1,400. You put $1 down and he wins the race, you're winning. I believe it's $140. I'm not going to complain about that at all. Christopher Bell also plus 1,400. Ross Chastain plus 16. Ryan Blaney plus 1,800, along with Chase Elliott. So you want to look deep into this. You want to see where your long odds are. I mean, this is a track where we've seen some long shots win before. But I'm not going to go too deep into this. I'm going to say if I want to take a long shot and I want to take that long shot, I'm going to take Kevin Harvick at plus 3,500. That's my long shot to win. A long shot for a top 5 would also be Kevin Harvick in the top 10. Kevin Harvick as well. Some other drivers, if you want to take a long shot odds, Logano plus 3,500. He's won a championship at Miami Homestead Speedway. Don't know why his odds are that bad. Maybe because of the way they run. John Hunter Nemechek is also running this race in the 42. I don't expect him to have that great of a day, but he's plus 15,000. And with that being said, let's get into this week's picks to win. I don't have much, but we do have all 3 series running. We have the trucks, No, let's preview the weekend before we pick the wins. We're back at Miami for the first time in the final round in a few years. I believe this is the first time since the championship race left Miami that it's back in the final round of 3 races before. I don't think it's been back in that round. I think it's been earlier in, but I think it's the first time it's back in the final round before Homestead. Not before Homestead, before Phoenix. Oh, never mind. It was in here last year. That's how much I don't remember from last year on this race. But nonetheless, Miami Homestead Speedway gives us great racing. The high line, I think, is going to come into play. I think we're going to see the low line at the start, but as it gets darker, we're going to see that high line really take shape. That's when the track's going to loosen up. Everybody's going to want to be up on the high side to stay up against the wall. But I think we're going to see multiple grooves. I think we're going to see 3 wide at places. We're going to see 3 lanes at some point. We're going to see, but then it's going to transition to who can run the low line, who can run the high line. And I think you're going to have to be running the high line to win this race. I think that leaves Kyle Larson in a really good spot. I think that leaves Christopher Bell in a good spot, Tyler Reddick in a good spot. Denny Hamlin, if he runs right. But Denny Hamlin here isn't the best at riding the wall. He likes the lower side. Same with Martin Truex Jr. I think he's a low side guy. But if their cars are locked in and running really well, they're going to be favorites. Then you transition to the Xfinity Series race. Probably going to put on a really good show. The car that they drive now is still the best that we put out there on these intermediate tracks. But I think Allgaier is somebody to look out for. I think you're looking out for a Cole Custer, somebody who can ride the high line. I think John Hunter Nemechek is still going to be in play. Austin Hill, this could be a track Austin Hill runs really well at, but I also see Sam Mayer, Josh Berry being able to run well. Those are the 6 I would look out for in that. And then you get to the Truck Series. I think you look out for Ty Majeski. You also look out for Zane Smith, who I believe won a championship here. No, he locked himself in to go to the championship here and win a championship in the Truck Series a couple years ago, if not last year. So that brings us to the picks this race weekend. I got Marty's picks for the weekend. So I'll give you Marty's picks and then my picks. Well, actually, first we'll go my picks because Marty's not here. So Marty can't tell me I messed up his pick, so I could just say the wrong name for his race winner in the Cup race, and he can't say that he was right this time because I believe he's 4 of 6. I'm going to try and make him go 4 of 7 this race weekend. But for the trucks, I'm picking Zane Smith. I think this is a track where Zane Smith runs really well. I think he's out for blood here a little bit with the way he's performed in the postseason. Announced that he's going to the Cup Series next year. I think he wants to end on a high note here at some point in the Truck Series. I think this is the race where he gets it done, locks himself into the championship 4 out in Phoenix. Then Marty has taken Ty Majeski in this one. I think that's also a good pick. I'm not going to down that pick. Then we get to the Xfinity Series. Marty, I disagree with your pick on this one, but I could see it happening. Cole Custer runs really well at these type of tracks. He's taking Cole Custer. I, on the other hand, am going to take Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier locks himself in to another championship run at Phoenix in a couple weeks. For the Xfinity Series, he's locked himself in, I believe, 3 years in a row. This will be year number 4 where he locks himself in. That gets us to the Cup Series where Marty and I, again, disagree. I didn't write his down, but I remember what he said. I'm taking Christopher Bell. I think Christopher Bell escaped last weekend with a second-place finish. I think he should have had the win. Didn't have enough to get by Larson there in the final moments, which takes us to Marty's pick. Marty's saying he's going back-to-back with nothing to worry about going in to my Homestead. He's taking Kyle Larson, young money, the number 5, to win back-to-back. He's saying Christopher Bell's not going to win. I think it could be reversed. We could see Christopher Bell be number 1, Kyle Larson number 2, and we have a reverse finish of what we saw this past weekend in Las Vegas, which then brings us to next weekend where we set the championship 4 up going into the race before Phoenix. So that will do it for this episode of RSN Trackside. I'm Kelvin. Marty's producing. Gary's taking a break.